Hello.
Hello.
We're Nathan and Sam, and we're both designers working in London at a studio called GBH and work across a number of disciplines. We were both actually hired on the very same day. We share the same surname, but no, as I mentioned before, we are not brothers, just friends. As well as working together at work, we collaborate outside.
I can swap the mic. Hello. Yeah, we're going to talk to you about a project called Me and You, which is something we personally initiated last summer. The topic is something we're obviously very close to, being from the UK. And we're going to showcase the whole project as one chronological journey, but we kind of want to talk about the background stories and feelings that underpin it, because it's more about that than the physical thing, I think, for us. We learned quite a lot from that, so hopefully we'll be able to communicate that today. As you may have guessed, it's in direct response to Brexit. And
So firstly, we'd like to just rewind a bit and set the scene. As you probably all know, on the 23rd of June 2016, the UK voted to leave the EU. This probably felt like the biggest political decision of our lifetime.
Yeah, that is us on holiday. We are, neither of us were in the country at the time, so we sent off our postal votes, and then we went off for, Sam was in Corfu, and I was in Croatia with my German girlfriend, so we were feeling pretty European at the time, felt pretty great about that, and then woke up, and my girlfriend woke me up at about 7 o'clock and said, "You're leaving the EU," and it's all, ending.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. It took me definitely a few hours to process, especially as at the time I had severe sunstroke and was lying in bed for 3 days. I'm very ginger.
We actually think this may have exemplified our feelings a little bit more, because we were sort of being away in the EU, we were directly confronted by what we were currently experiencing, and then what we are in fact losing. So that, made us feel dreadful.
Yeah.
I think, it's you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
That's fine, thank you. So I started writing a message to Nathan, and like halfway through writing it, got one back. We just started talking there and then. We chatted through it, swore a lot, cried a lot, started scrabbling at our options that we could do. We thought we could definitely, surely there was something that can be done about this. Let's talk again when we're back in the country.
And it was on getting back that we actually realised the full scale of the situation, in that, I mean, everyone we knew, all of our friends, especially the creative community, was very much Remain focused. And so we honestly, we really couldn't picture how this was possible. There was a deep sense of confusion amongst everyone we knew at how we could possibly be leaving the EU. And I guess that's when we realised we're in a bubble.
Yeah, we were looking in on the bubble, really. I think that kind of gave us a different view to everything else. And I think more than anything, it made us feel disconnected. We obviously disconnected from the EU, but also from half of our own country, where we kind of got home and felt like it wasn't really our home anymore, and we wanted to do something to decrease that void.
The projection of the UK outside of the UK through mass media was just not the voice that we were feeling inside the UK, and many other people feeling inside the UK. And so everyone we knew had this kind of embarrassed, misunderstood feeling that we definitely wanted to capitalise on. We realised that we should do something that was outward reaching. Everyone was very sort of introspective and looking inwards. We wanted to look out and reach out in some way. I mean, the reality was, though, is that we saw numerous things going on where people were trying to change political action, but we realised that the reality was that we were leaving the EU, and that had been decided. But really, I mean, from both sides, we couldn't see how anyone would not want to remain in contact with the EU or people from the EU. So we just want to keep in touch, right? That's what we felt. And so the next question was, how do we reconnect with people, and how do we get people's voices heard? we quickly thought through a number of different avenues actually, but I think the most, I'm trying to go through inspirations, but I think the biggest inspiration was when we went to this protest, and we weren't trying to change political discourse in the same way, but we definitely, at a time that was quite negative, we felt there was a huge amount of positivity and unity there. And there was actually, we loved how all of these signs aren't obviously created by designers, maybe a few, but mainly aren't. And we really liked how undesigned and raw these were. And they were really passionate and human. They're just getting their feelings across in the way they know best. They're really, really good. So we wanted to capitalise on that.
And some of them were just very funny and obviously pretty ugly, but also just very funny. And we wanted to capitalise and kind of show off that English humour and translate the same energy, humour and positivity, but in a way that crossed and travelled across borders that were now being put up. And so we thought postcards, they talk of borders, they talk about travelling across those borders, and they talk of conversation, but in a very personal, one-to-one way, almost like pen pals. So we started approaching people, friends, creatives, people we admire. We just started sending out emails and just saying, can we start this thing?
And so the brief was pretty simple. So the idea was that you communicate your feelings via a visual design on the front over there, and then you put a personal message on the back just expressing how you felt to someone in the EU. And we were excited about how each of these postcards individually were very, very quiet. They were just one person speaking to another person. But as we started getting more and more in, we kind of realised that they were building up a bigger picture, and that was interesting. And we just think the other thing that we noticed was that it's kind of rare to see designers use their communication skills in this way, actually, just to communicate how they personally feel about a topic to somebody else. And that really, okay, on the behalf of an organisation, we're very skilled at communicating on their behalf, but actually we're just as skilled at communicating on our own behalf.
Yeah. So in the end, we managed to get, before the deadline, 116 entries, which absolutely blew us away. It ranged from studios like MB, Kessel Kramer, Johnson Banks, to names like Craig Oldham, Jim Sutherland, and Patrick Thomas, who was here 2 days ago. But what the most interesting thing for us was we had students and non-designers approaching us and asking to be involved, and this was perfect for us, of course. It was exactly the kind of collective, democratic, everyone getting stuck in nature that we wanted. And as Nathan said, although the collection was a series of personal messages, they documented a collective view of Brexit from the creative industry. And so we thought this was the perfect opportunity to briefly show you the entire collection and stop to let you know some of the backstories that can't be explained on a single post on our site.
Mm. We'll be quite quick.
Yeah, so we're going to take you through quite quickly, stopping on a few.
We should have probably put backing music on, maybe. But we didn't think about it.
We love the simplicity of this one. There was a massive range of work, from stuff that was just smile in the mind, kind of little ideas, to very well crafted, like illustrated ones. I think this was the one that I was probably most jealous of. Obviously, pretty minimal effort. And it was literally just, the one that we got through fairly late in the game, and it was, shit, I wish that was my one. So, congratulations to Tabas and Patel for that one.
Oh yeah, this one's a little geeky one for all the designers, but it's that familiar InDesign screen where something's missing or has been modified, and that is, of course, uk.gpg.
I think this one has the nicest backstory to it. This is from a copywriter called Simon Griffin in the UK, and this is a poem that he comprised from, he bought the Daily Mail, which was a paper that gloated and was very leave and gloated about a good result for the EU and for us, and cut out the letters from that day's paper and rearranged them into a poem. It was a lot of craft, a lot of dedication, and we kind of like that it had this poison pen letter vibe, like a ransom note almost.
Yeah.
So.
If it's not familiar over here, the Daily Mail is probably the trashiest or like lowest end newspaper.
It's the worst paper.
So it was a really interesting response from a copywriter as well. We were wondering how a copywriter might sort of go around the visual side of things, and we just thought that was such an amazing idea of how to go about it.
So funny.
Oh yeah, so Patrick Thomas's he was here a couple of days ago if you saw him. His had the most lovely sentiment because he's a British designer but he works in Berlin, and so he approached one of his German students to he got that thumbprint, and he got his thumbprint and just made this really simple minimal heart from it, and we just thought that had such a nice sentiment to it. Definitely the most sentimental one I think we have.
Yeah, definitely. Come on.
Hello. Oh yeah. We found this hilarious actually because we personally know this guy. He sits next to us, and we realised how like the sheer variety of kind of effort that went into some of them. So this is by far one of the more simpler ones, but it's definitely one of the funniest. So of course Nigel Farage is Jack Nicholson in The Shining, and we saw him put it together in about 10 minutes, and we were like, okay, that's going to work well. The thing is it's definitely by far got the most views on our site. So this is the most popular one out of the group. And we really liked that because we got some stuff from illustrators that was really, really beautifully crafted, and same with typography. And then to the effortless ones like this, which just communicated instantly. Yeah. We loved it.
Yeah, again, this one was one of our favourites. Just a random email that came in the inbox with just linking the EU ring to a wedding ring. We just thought it was really clever.
The first.
And this was our first one from an illustrator called Jack Bedford. I think his was the one, and obviously it's like a very, very lovely illustration, and I think it got everything rolling for us, and just saying that this idea could actually work, and it was great. And then we had ones that worked using the front and back, which was quite nice that they played with the format a bit. So obviously that's quite nice.
Jim Sutherland.
Jim Sutherland's.
Yeah, so Sam came up with
I had an idea that was almost exactly like this, and then Jim Sutherland sent this through, and I was like, oh well, he's just done it way better than I have. I could have done, so I just have to come up with another idea. This is horrible. And it's just, again, he again was one of the ones, a fairly big name, and he just got the ball rolling for us, and after he submitted, we had a lot more entries just come in, so thanks, Jim.
So this one's a paper aeroplane, of course, when he scored it into a paper aeroplane so that we can fold it up and throw it over the pond to you guys in the EU.
Yeah.
Amazingly simple. Yeah, this was a really good one because it demonstrated the variety of feelings involved. So this is Liam Burry, and he took a typical novelty postcard that you may pick up if you're over in London, and he just said, if you could screw that up and screw it in a ball and just send it like that, that'd be amazing. It was quite an angry message in comparison to some, and we like that in the collection there's some that were very angry, there's some that were more heartfelt, some plain embarrassed, others really funny, and this demonstrated it to us.
This is another one that works from the front and back. We kind of gave everyone a template to work with, and this guy Mike Fisher just decided to absolutely ruin that. So that was fun. We had Nathan's address on the original postcards, and then Nathan moved halfway through, so artworking that and changing that was a massive pain in the arse.
That's us, the dumb ones.
We're dumb.
Studio Thompson took all of the colours of the EU flags, and then put them into a rainbow. So all of the countries in the EU. Oh.
Nathan's entry.
There it is.
And yeah, again, playing with the format of the card. MB Studio, we got they literally just printed off a picture of the map, tore the UK off, and then stuck it back together, which was really nice, obviously. And it was one of our favourite ones. Yeah, this one was quite good. It was this is from a studio called Pavilion, and they're a typographic studio based in London. And we kind of sent them the brief, and they responded saying, "Yeah, definitely, we're definitely going to do this." And we were expecting something that was going to be really beautifully crafted and like this gorgeous piece of typography, and they just sent this. And not that this is bad, this is obviously amazing. It was quite nice that it pushed people's comfort zone, I think, a bit, and people tried to do something that was a little bit different. And yeah, Crystal Palace is no Paris.
This is by Stephen Graham, and the front of this is amazing and beautiful. He's an illustrator, but it's the back of this that has made us laugh so much. He's definitely the more vulgar of the lot. That is Article 50, pissing on his own leg, and Article 50 is the treaty that Theresa May would have had to have signed to initiate it. This was brilliant.
This is my entry. I'm not going to make you read it. And another firm favourite was from Sarah Beth and Jones at Bibliotech. Obviously, we've set up our own borders now from the vote, and this postcard basically just demonstrates the entire idea of our project of postcards have no borders and they can travel across these. And it just spilled round onto the sides, which I thought was gorgeous. We thought this one was really good. Charlie Newhouse. I think the most interesting thing with this one was he kind of sent over a postcard and was like, "Is this okay?" And we kind of saw the idea that he had, and it was obviously a really good idea, but it wasn't executed as well as we thought it could be. So we were like, "Do you mind if we just like send you some reference? Like, have a little chat about it." We spoke to him on the phone, and he was like, "Yep, give me like another day, and I'll send." And he sent through this, and it was like, "Perfect. We don't need to do anything more now." Keep forgetting how many there are.
Oh yeah, have I brought this with me? I did. Have I unwrapped it yet? So this is by a guy called Sam Miller, and he's a sign writer and sign maker who does pub signs in the UK. And so we were like, oh yeah, I'd love to do a postcard, and we were figuring out how to do it. So he's made this exact sized little pub signage piece. That's the exact size of the postcard in order for us to send over. So he shot that and then put that on the front, which, to be honest, doesn't do it justice, because obviously this is the most amazing bit. But the message, I don't know if it translates so well, but it's a sign that you would have in all pubs across the country of, when you leave, please be quiet. And so he thought it'd be hilarious if people from the EU could give it back to us. Very nice.
And this was the very last entry we got from an advertiser called Chris Godfrey. And it just works like this, of taking a chance, and just perfectly sums up the whole. He's not saying what's happened is necessarily bad or it could be, yeah. He's just saying that we're taking a massive risk, and I think this was, just summed up our idea again.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
We are there. The thing is, this is the whole collection here, and again, massive thanks to everyone who contributed to it. It was, it seriously meant a lot, actually. We didn't, it started very slowly at the beginning. They were sort of drip feeding in, and then it started picking up towards the end. It was amazing. And the next task was that we had to send the whole lot. So on the day that Theresa May officially signed Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, we enveloped all of these up and sent them out at the exact same time to people across all 27 EU countries. And then we waited.
Yeah, and then we waited. We waited for the EU to receive the cards, and then potentially if we'd get any response, which we have. This kind of should do it justice. It seems like obviously we sent so many out, and we have started getting more and more back, but we weren't really expecting anything in return, because really we were the ones that fucked up, and so we were just, but yeah, it was so amazing. We were just hoping to connect people digitally, maybe like emails back and forth, because we paired people with studios that we thought were relevant for them. And yeah, we wanted to encourage the dialogue, but it was great to get actual physical responses sent back via us. We kind of became the middleman for a bit, which was quite nice. And the quality of the responses as well have absolutely blown us away. So we'll briefly show you a couple of those as well.
This one is by Friedrich Handhel, and it's just great how it references its recipient. So that's Matt Perchard with a gross gum on the bottom of the shoe there. And then Friedrich has stuck us back up, stuck the star on again, which is quite funny. Max Goofer is pointing fun at us here, and it's very true. We would be the one with the parasol down at the top corner there, and we would be ginger, sorry, Sam. And we would be sunburnt, so that's funny.
Yeah, Studio Dunbars just looks at kind of how complicated the EU actually is, which I completely agree with. And then Ellen Svensson's was in response to Sam Rose, which is taking the idea of cutting ourselves off very literally, and she's just responded with, no, let's start back together, which we like.
AKU. This one, they'd found the Twitter account of someone called The Real Theresa May, and this is a picture of the real Theresa May, and a pixelated picture, and they quoted her on the back. They're saying, "I find it quite amusing how many people think that I'm Theresa May, the Prime Minister. Just goes to show how ignorant people are," which is kind of true.
Yeah. Building Paris, and Carlin Diaz did a lateral two-sider, very different. She, based on the topic, and obviously she's drawn someone going to the toilet, it's strangely quite heartwarming and quite lovely. Daniel Stiles, yeah. Eden Speakerman's, he actually sent it as a GIF originally, and it was like an animated, it was like a lot of flashing, and it's very, but obviously it doesn't translate very well into a postcard, but I didn't realise you'd had that.
Oh, we had that.
Nice.
Really like this from Naomi Gerard. She's actually physically hand-sewn the UK back together, which is quite a feat, but we like that on the back of it you could still see the mess behind the scenes, sort of represented it quite well for us. I think we've got music with this one.
I think.
So we can do it.
Go on.
It's referencing this song, of course, from the Beatles. Why? There it is.
Yeah. And 2 points was, we actually got this basically as the general election happened, and Theresa May fighting for her position as Prime Minister in June, and we just thought it was quite a nice play on words. And Studio Mutts, that again shows their opinion on how disjointed and on different levels the Europe and EU actually is.
The thing is, oh god, the typeface hasn't loaded.
Yeah, it's fine.
The thing is that beyond the postcards, then the project took on a life, another life really, and across printed and digital media across the UK, the EU, and even surprisingly China. News started being posted about it, and this was the point where we were really, really shocked, and we just thought it was a great example at this point, actually, of how amazing it is that something really small, like postcards about something you feel about, can reach so far when a community collaborate on something that they passionately believe in, and stand on the shoulders of one another, much like Carlin's captured earlier with the toilet roll.
And as part of the response, we started receiving emails and comments from people who kind of wanted to be involved or get a set of the postcards and start sending them themselves. When we originally printed these, we kind of kept remembering it was really funny that these postcards have obviously been designed to be printed and sent, but most people were just seeing them online and like digitally documented. So, and when we got the first batch, after we got all these designs, we got them all printed. They were looked absolutely incredible in printed form, and this was something that we couldn't quite translate. So, so we thought, book.
And then with the much appreciated help of Common Practices, who's founded by Craig Oldham, is now become a reality and been possible.
This was on press in the UK just last week. We literally got them delivered. The books got delivered to my parents' house, and then I went and collected them. And yeah, we wanted it printed in the UK just to continue the sentiment of the project being us sending our love from the UK to the EU.
And it's a fully perforated postcard book, so the idea being that you can tear these out and people can scribble their messages on the back and continue the dialogue and continue the message with the EU.
And yeah, as just said, the book is completely ready. I have one here. Oh. Sorry. And yeah, a documentation of this collective view of Brexit and a way to continue the dialogue with the EU.
And then we come to here. This has been, thanks Torino Graphic Day, it's been amazing, and it's something that once we got the collection, we started getting responses from people in the EU. We were like, this would be amazing if we could have an exhibition in the EU and an exhibition in the UK, and just seemed like a bit of a dream at the time. But yeah, now it's obviously they're exhibited out here.
Thanks again. And
also we'll be exhibiting in London in a couple of days as well, at the London Design Museum, which is obviously amazing, but it's really great that within a couple of days' time of each other, they're going to be in both spaces at the same, and we really like the sentiment of that and the symbol of unity of that.
Yeah. So again, this is where we are now. The project has single-handedly been the most rewarding thing we've ever done.
Definitely. Being
able to do something even in the smallest of ways, with a bunch of people who believe in something, who believe the same as us. And although this may come across as cliche, and we've all heard it, there are three things from the project three things that we've thought, and this project has just confirmed for us.
Yeah. The first one would be simply saying it, and this comes back to that point I said earlier where we were like, it's kind of rare to see creatives using their means or their way of communicating just to communicate how they personally feel, right, to one person. We really, it became apparent in this project that just saying what you mean and meaning what you say was of much importance. And this kind of highlighted the importance of self-initiated projects to us, I think, because it's a way that you can work on something that you really stand for and believe in, and your own opinions this is, but you can sort of evaluate these, and like we've done this with a whole bunch of people, and I think we just thought that was amazing.
And obviously this is definitely cliche, and we've all heard it before, and it's all well and good having an idea, but you just got to do it. We didn't really realise what we were going to be doing but we just started just worked it out as we kind of went. And it was just a case of making a small step, doing one thing, and it started, obviously it's just snowballed, and now we're talking here. So yeah, just even, no matter what, just do it. Like even if you fail, it doesn't matter. Because
I think it's fair to say as well that there was quite a lot of repeated steps that we were doing. It started really slow, even though, of course, a lot of people believed in a similar thing. It reminds me of what you were saying at display, where the amount of times that we pushed people to try and, have you got that work? Have you got that? And it didn't happen for a long while. So those small steps, it got there in the end. And this is maybe a sickly sweet one to finish on, but this is a quote from the back of someone's postcard, William Knight, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it's astonishing how when people collaborate together and they all have slightly different backgrounds, slightly different takes on things, the things that you can actually achieve. This project, I guess, for us anyway, was an example of this, because it wouldn't be anywhere without all of the contributors' work, the postcards, all of the responders, all of the curators and the organisers here at Torino and stuff like this. So, yeah, massive, massive.
Yeah, thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. One last point. If you are in, I don't know why the type is like that. I'll go back to this. If you are in the UK on the 8th of November, you are more than welcome to come. We're doing our own launch of the book at the new D&AD headquarters. And so if you're in London on the 8th of November, please come, and you are all more than welcome. That's it. That's it.
Thank you. We have time for a question in case you have some curiosity in the audience. I have one curiosity, one question for you. I mean, this great job, and congratulations, because it's an amazing job, comes after the Brexit, no? So, would you think that this Brexit, changed if a better social communication would be done before?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we are all involved in social communication, but at the end, it's different if you do before or after.
Yeah. It's a really difficult one, because we were talking about this the other day, and the Leave campaign it focused on your emotions, and it tried to, and that's a very easy win. You can always, literally what you said like an hour ago, you can always sell a change, where it's really difficult to sell the same idea of what's happening now. We thought that the Remain campaign was just a lot of statistics, and it was just saying, oh well, it's pretty good now, isn't it? And really, not everyone's happy right now. So it's I don't know.
I think it came down to as well what we were saying about earlier with the whole bubble point of view, actually, in that. There was a number of creatives doing some things beforehand, Wolfgang Tilsman with his Brexit posters, and there was another initiative, which I forgot the name of who did it, where they also did some posters themselves. But I think it came down to that the real shock of it, actually, and it is embarrassing in that way, admittedly, but that we sincerely thought through all of communication online and everything between everyone we knew, and outside of the creative community as well, everyone was saying Remain, and we with all of these posts and everything about, we were like, this is all going to be okay, and it wasn't, and that is bad.
But I think quickly, just that all of the campaigns that went before that were very protest heavy, that were saying that it would obviously be a terrible idea if we left. I think that it kind of put a lot of people off, like all the celebrities talking about saying, oh, we should remain. Really, like, the common person doesn't need a celebrity to tell them how to think. And I think that it almost put people in the opposite direction. Nobody wants to be preached at, and the Leave campaign just embraced that, and again focused on it and said, you don't need to be told. It was very internal, and it focused on the UK being for the UK and not being part. We don't need to stand for the EU anymore, kind of thing. So, yeah. I think that's...
Thank you. There will be always space for UK in the Torino Graphic Days. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you again.